Okay. Okay, thank you. So I'm so excited to see you. Thank you for joining my webinar. And today we will talk about how to develop your reading skills for the Russian state exam. And to begin with, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Polina Avsиевич, and I have graduated Moscow State Pedagogical University, Department of Foreign Languages. I studied cross-cultural communication and I have a bachelor in linguistics. Then I decided to continue my education and I enrolled at the master's program, Modern Technologies in Teaching English at the Institute of International Education. And now I'm a part of the Institute of International Education. And last year, I took a course of teaching English within communicative approach. So, what's on the agenda for the webinar? Today, we will discuss the reading part in the Russian state exam. It means that we will examine each task and I will give you tips how to pass the reading part with flying colors. Then we will dwell on reasons for reading English literature even after you will have passed your exam. Moreover, we will discuss some tips for reading, how to become an avid reader, how to boost your passion for reading, and how to choose a book appropriate to your level. And finally, I will give you an overview of online resources for boosting your reading skills. Okay, and the first step, we will look at the reading part at the Russian state exam. So you have 30 minutes to complete all the tasks. The reading part aims at checking your understanding of the text. How can you elicit and understand the details in the text, and your ability to comprehend structural and semantic relationships of words in the text. And overall, you can get 20 points. So your first task within the reading part is task number 10. Where you have to match headlines to the paragraphs. And you have 7 paragraphs. It means that for one right answer, you can get 1 point. And overall, you can get 7 points for this task. Task number 11, so 6 points. And tasks to the text, you can get 7 points. And now let's examine the tasks explicitly. So your first task is task number 10, where you have a text and you have to match the headlines to the paragraph. So the text can be of any topic. It can be teen problems, cuisine, or understanding people, and etc. And you have 8 headlines to 7 paragraphs. And it means that one headline is extra. And to do this task, you read the whole text. It means that you read 1 paragraph and then start thinking on how to choose an appropriate headline. But the main idea is that the headlines are paraphrased. So it means that while reading, you should pay attention to the key words and pay attention to synonyms. And only after that, you decide and choose an appropriate headline. And in this case, I would like you to recommend the use of method of associations. So ask yourself a question. What is written in the text and how could I say it differently? In this case, you think about synonyms and you summarize all the synonyms that you met in the text and find an appropriate headline. And of course, match the headlines you're sure about firstly, and then go to the hardest headlines. And if you don't know some of the words in the paragraph, so don't hesitate. You can just cross out some of the variants between headlines, which are absolutely wrong, and then just again read the paragraph again and choose the right headline. So, and now I would like to have a practice together. So please read the first paragraph and have a look at the keywords which I put on the left. So here it is, about the obesity. And please write your answer in the chat, which headline is appropriate to this paragraph. So take your time to read it. And remember that the key phrases and words are highlighted on the screen on the left. So what is the right answer? What is the right headline? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great. Yeah. The paragraph, the headline, which is called What is Obesity? Yeah, because here we met such synonyms as excess weight, body fat, yeah, medical condition, and it makes us summarize the main idea of this paragraph. Yeah, and now let's work on the second paragraph. Yeah, and again, the keywords are highlighted on the screen. So please read the second paragraph and match the appropriate headline to it. So you think that the headline is appropriate for this paragraph is number 4. Maybe that the author describes the reasons to be active in the following paragraph. So please take your time to read the third paragraph and then make sure how you can name both these paragraphs. So just choose the right headline for each of these paragraphs. So I'm waiting for others. Yeah, that's right. That in the second paragraph, the author describes the different terms for physical activity, yeah? So as it is highlighted in the picture. So physical activity is movement of the body, and physical activity is exercise. And in the third paragraph, the author describes the reasons to be active, yeah? So in this case, when we check the third paragraph, we understand the main idea of the first or of the second paragraph in this case, okay? So yeah, just make sure that you choose the right headline and then check all of the headlines for all of the paragraphs. Okay, and now let's move further. So the task number 11 can be tricky because you have to reconstruct the text. And the point to do it successfully is that you should read the whole text together, even with gaps. So you read the whole text to understand the main idea of it, and then you start thinking on how to reconstruct it. And to do it successfully, you analyze the syntax and the meaning of a sentence. So it means that you should find a fragment according to the meaning and the structure. Before choosing one of the suggested variants, make sure that this fragment corresponds grammatically in the meaning in accordance with the text. So if the text is written in the past simple, then the missing part should be also in the past simple. And it will be beneficial if you highlight the subject, the predicate, and also pay attention to the numbers, to the pronouns, okay? And when to reconstruct the text, you read the following sentence, and it will be a hint. For example, it can be the continuation of the previous sentence or part of the sentence, or it will give you a clue what the missing part is. So just read maybe the first sentence and the following sentences. Then you get overall idea of this maybe paragraph or several sentences, and then you can choose one of the possible answers, yeah, how to reconstruct it. And again, now let's have a practice. So please read the first paragraph. I decided to choose only one just to show you how it works. Take your time to read it. So you read the paragraph, yeah, and understand the overall idea of this part. And here we have two gaps, yeah. So let's work on the first one. So again, please read the sentence with the gaps. But once one is the principal medicine store, now houses a huge collection, the Stone Age. So I highlighted the noun, a collection, yeah, and the time period Stone Age. And in this case, we should think how we can connect to these words and how they can be connected. And please read all of the possible answers and then write your answer in the chat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great. Wonderful. Yeah, that's right. So thanks. So we have for the first gap, we choose covering Russian history since the time of, yeah. And because we have the time period, yeah, we should connect it, the time of the Stone Age. So this sentence, now it corresponds grammatically, yeah, in the meaning to the following sentences. And in the second sentence, which we have to rebuild, yeah, we have a comma, which also gives us a clue what to put, yeah, which structure we could put. And in the next 3 sentences, the author describes the building, yeah, that it is a promenade, the rooms are decorated in a particular style, and it is decorated in the style of Russian churches, yeah. In this case, the author just explains the attraction of this building, and it also gives us the key which fragment is missed. Okay, thank you. And let's move further. And the final part of the reading part is answering to the questions to the text. And again, you read the whole text to understand the main idea, to highlight maybe key words in it, and then you focus on the questions. And before focusing on the questions, you should remember that the questions are going sequentially to the text. So it means that the task number 12 corresponds to the first paragraph, task number 13 corresponds to the second paragraph. So, and make sure that you pay attention to the details. So because this task, the part of the task to the text aims at checking your detailed understanding of the text. So you read carefully the question, and then you start thinking on how to answer the questions and search the key words and key phrases in the text. And then you scan the text to extract the information, yeah. And the key point is that there are two variants which are absolutely wrong. So it means that they're just written to attract your attention from the main points. And let's practice together, yeah? Okay, so please read the first 2 paragraphs to understand the idea of it, and then we will answer the questions. Okay, so let's take the first question in this section. You should find the synonyms to the word pedigree. And what should you do if you don't know these words? Of course, don't panic. You read the text where this word is used and read the following sentence. So, because this sentence can give you a clue what it is, as it is written in this text, and I also highlighted the expression dig into her past, yeah? Because in the following sentence, the author describes that Agatha Christie spent 2 decades living on excavation sites. It means that the author describes some facts of life, yeah? And in this case, we can answer that the word pedigree is used in the meaning of, write your answer in the chat, please. Yeah, that's right. It is number 3, in the meaning of background. Great. And in the second paragraph, the author describes some of the important information for us, yeah, about Agatha Christie's life. And if we look at the answer, we just remember, yeah, that we have 2 sentences, 2 variants, which are absolutely wrong. These sentences number 2 and sentence number, and sentence number 4, yeah, because the author didn't mention these facts, and we have a choice between the first and the third sentence, yeah. But you have to concentrate on the main idea of this paragraph, because the author mentioned the journeys, yeah, and the excavation word, yeah, but make sure that you choose the right variant. Yeah, that's right, yeah. It will be the sentence number 1, which is the right answer, that some of her voyages and journeys inspired her. Yeah, because it is the main idea of this paragraph. Okay, thank you for your work. It was great. And now we have discussed the reading part in the exam. And now let's move further and dwell on the reasons for reading, even after you will have passed your exam and will be free. So the most vital point is that authentic texts provide a real language. So it means that these texts are written by a writer for a real audience to convey a real message of some sort. It means that through reading authentic texts, you study the language and you can learn some social peculiarities of the target culture. You get acquainted with the events, the literature, the themes of this culture. So, and it is of vital importance. Another point to be stressed is that reading improves everything. It means that reading provides opportunities to study language because you pay attention to the vocabulary, to the grammar, to the punctuation, and in this case you absorb this knowledge unconsciously, and overall it increases your skills of listening, writing, speaking, because you start to understand how the words are connected in the text, how they are used, and you understand the overall idea of it. And of course, you should read for pleasure. So just read of what you are interested in. And because of, as we have mentioned previously, it boosts your language knowledge and you become more familiar with the written texts. And you can choose any author, any writer, just read what you have a passion for. It can be newspaper articles or classical books, whatever. It's just a matter of choice. And another important question is how to read. It is extremely important to read a lot, and you should read as much as possible because you should make a habit to progress. And it means that the more you read, the more you pick up new items, you observe them, and you expand your knowledge of language, you expand your overall linguistic knowledge. And of course, you should read for fun's sake. It means that you shouldn't read just for work purposes or for study purposes. Read what you have a passion for. Because it is of vital importance to have a motivation to read the book up to the end. Yeah, and it is also very key point. I'm sorry, is that it is a very vital and important aspect is that you should pay attention not only on the language, but on the meaning of the book itself, since it can evoke your emotions, your personal engagement with the text, and you expand again your knowledge of the text. And the final point I want to stress is that keep on reading. It means that, of course, there are many unknown words in the text, but the idea is that you shouldn't translate all of the unknown words. Just skip them and keep on reading. The text, the content should help you to understand the overall idea of it. And of course, if there are too many of unknown words, then the level is not appropriate for you. Or if the words are met in the text so often, of course, you can look them up in the dictionary. So just keep on reading and never stop, okay? Just to improve your reading skills. And in this case, we also should mention how to choose a book. And the level should be a little high to progress. But I also want to stress, if there are too many of unknown words, then it will be far too difficult for you to read it. You won't be interested in reading because you may be angry that you don't understand so many words. And you should choose a book with maybe you read in Russian and you can read it in English, because it will give you a hint that you know the plot. And another point, that choose a book with a long, intricate plot. It just will take you time to get acquainted with the main characters, and you will understand the sequences of events, and it will evoke your personal engagement with the plot, okay? So, and now let's move further. And now I would like to give you a site on online resources to train your reading. The first site is National Geographic Learning, and I like it very much because these are articles, the text which is based on the articles from the National Geographic magazine, yeah, and in this case you expose to the real language for written text for real audience. So just go to the website, choose Student Zone, and choose Interactive Reading Practice. So there are plenty of texts, and you can choose the level of the text because the texts are divided according to the levels. And after reading, there are plenty of comprehensive reading activities. And these activities are very similar to the Russian state exam tasks. So you can practice your reading on this site for your exam. And another point is that there are also supplementary grammar and vocabulary practice worksheets. So you read the text and you start working on grammar or studying vocabulary, and it's also very vital because all these constructions and words are presented in the text. And you can also listen to recording of the texts online. So in this case, you work on listening. For example, you can listen the audio, and if you don't understand some of the words, then you can read the text. And you work on listening and reading skills simultaneously, and that's great. So, and now let's move to newspaper articles. And the idea is that newspaper articles are very vital for learning because in these texts, you met up-to-date vocabulary. You can study some of the target topics you are interested in, and you can boost your vocabulary on a particular topic. So the first site is BBC News. You can either read or listen to the news. Such newspapers as The Guardian, The Telegraph, they are the British daily newspapers articles. Yeah, you can work with them, or you can choose American newspapers such as Washington Post and New York Times. Just take any of them, and it will be great for improving your reading. Another interesting site is learnenglish.com, Voice of American Youth. I like it very much because the platform is very user-friendly. Again, you can choose the level. The texts are adapted for each of the level. Yeah, as you can see, beginner level, intermediate, advanced. And you can choose any topic, health and lifestyle, yeah, science and technology, art and culture. And you can download this app for iOS and Android. So I think it's great. And again, you can either read the transcript or listen to the audio. And of course, there are also videos presented on this site. So you can enjoy the reading, the listening in one resource. These two sites provide a wide range of classical books. So the first site is Let2Go, and here we can meet audio books and transcripts, and they are presented works by classical authors, and the layout is also marvelous. And another important fact is that you can save the passages in PDF, and it is for free. Also, you can read the book, or you can listen to the audiobook. And again, you practice both skills, reading or listening one book. And the second one is AmericanLiterature.com. Here we have short stories and classical books again, a vast library of great authors' works, and again, this verse is for free. So, and the American culture divides the books according to the topics. For example, you can choose the topics for children, the topics for women, and some of the historical background of books are also provided. Okay, and let's move further. So, the British Council. I think you know this site because you can work on vocabulary, grammar, or improving your skills on this site. And because it is a high quality resource to quickly improve your English at any sphere. And again, you can choose skills, or you can choose some grammar or vocabulary. And again, the texts are of different topics and levels. And there are also different reading comprehension tasks. So gap filling, task on collocations. And you see, again, you not only read the text, but you have some tasks to work on the vocabulary or grammar from the text, which are very vital for improving your English, for boosting your skills. And Cambridge exam. So I like this site very much because you can see how much time do you need to do the task. So you can choose the task which lasts 5 minutes, or it will take you even 50 minutes. And you can practice also different skills. You can choose just to practice only reading or grammar, or to practice only reading. And again, there are follow-up activities, and all of the tasks are presented in the different levels. And the final useful resource I want you to share with, it's a Macmillan series of books, which is called Exam Skills for Russian. And here it is, you can see the blue one, reading and writing. And there are 16 thematically organized lessons, and each of the lesson includes sections of reading and writing. And you can improve your lexical skills and grammatical structures. So it means that this book presents your tasks which will be on the Russian state exam. So let's have a look. So yeah, do you see? Here it is. So the grammar focus, you have a text, and then you have some explanations of the grammar, yeah? And also you have the work on the words, the wages, salary, return, etc. And here it is one of the example from the reading part. So yeah, it is the same as in the Russian state exam. You have to match the headlines to the paragraphs. And you can choose and use this book for working for the preparation for the Russian state exam. So thank you for your attention. And now if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. So what's your favorite book written in English? Oh, it's how to choose one of my favorite book. So I think I very love the writer Somerset Maugham, and I read his short stories. I read some of his poems, and one of my favorite is Of Human Bunches, because the author describes the difficult life of a man, how he goes through the different and difficult tasks, and I like it very much. Thank you for your question. Is science fiction going to be hard to read? You see, it's a matter of your taste. If you are interested in reading it, so you can choose one of the books written in science fiction style, and then you start working on vocabulary from topical vocabulary, yeah, from a particular topic. And if you get acquainted with this vocabulary, it will give you a clue how to understand the text, and you make a habit of reading such type of texts, and finally you will get pleasure of reading such types of texts. Can you give, please, some tips on how to understand the author's attitude and task number 18? So the point is that you should understand the real text and try to elicit the general idea of it. And then after you reading each of the paragraph, you pay attention to the words the author uses. It can be words with negative connotations, or it can be words with positive connotations, yeah, for example. And it will give you a clue how the author describes these events in which perspective. And I think then you can answer these questions. Just to read it again and again to understand the main idea and the main point of it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your attention. Is it better to translate your words during reading or after? So the idea is that when you read the text, the background knowledge helps you to understand the overall meaning of it. Of course, if there are too many of unknown words, or if the words are repeated several times, then you look them up in the dictionary. And of course, you can reread this paragraph again and again. For example, you read the first paragraph. There are too many of unknown words. but you don't have a dictionary, yeah? And then you read this paragraph again, paying attention to the structures, how the words are used. And after that, you can elicit the general meaning of this text and of the words. But if you struggle with understanding, of course, you can read these meanings using the dictionary. But try to read the text without in translation. Try to, please. I hope I will answer your question. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your work. So can you tell me some ways to improve your English skills if you already have an advanced level and it seems that you cannot move on? So yeah, it's a very vital question to be considered, because we have some, we have some gaps which maybe we know, maybe which we didn't consider, but these gaps, but how can we learn new vocabulary or grammar? So you just take some books of a high level, yeah, for example, proficient level, and study this vocabulary, study these books, study this vocabulary, study the grammar, choose the books of a high level, then watch a lot of movies in English and read a lot in English again. And try to find a native speaker to practice your speaking skills, or to, there are plenty of sites where you can find a pen friend, yeah, and work on your writing skills, because it is very important to constantly work on your language. And it's education lasts forever, and there is always the level which we can achieve if we work hard on some of the tasks. Thank you. Oh, it's a pleasure to hear it. Thank you. I hope the resources were very useful for you and you can use them for your further work. So I'm still waiting for the questions if you have. So what do you mean? If you are a beginner, or if you are, for example, a proficient level? If you are a beginner, there are plenty of adapted books according to the level, but these books are written with simplified grammar, simplified vocabulary, just to introduce you the works in English. But if you have, for example, if you have an intermediate level or upper intermediate level, you can start reading little stories just to make it a habit of reading the texts, and then move to the biggest one. Okay. So you can choose maybe some short stories at the resource Lead to Go. Yeah, there are some stories written by famous authors, and you can also listen to them and read the text, and you work on both skills. And then move to the books with a long, intricate plot. Thank you. So if there are no questions, thank you for your attention. I was pleased to share with you some of the resources, and I hope you will use them a lot. Thank you a lot. Thank you, and have a nice holidays.